What is up, guys? It's TCM MarkyB here, and today I'm going to be talking about the groups for the Call of Duty World Championships, my opinions on which teams are going to advance, and I'm going to try and give my opinions through watching different teams from Europe, obviously, that I have a lot of experience against that I can talk about. So that's what I'm going to be really doing throughout this video. But before I get into that, I want to give you guys a bit of news about myself. I have recently actually acquired a subscriber button for my Twitch channel. I recently, maybe a couple of weeks back, gained myself a Twitch partnership, but now I actually have that subscriber button function on my stream channel. So if you want to support me, you'll get yourself a nice couple of emoticons to use my stream chat. You'll also get yourself a nice emoticon badge for when you type in the chat. I'll put a link in the description below on how you can go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And like I said, it will really support me in the future, so I would appreciate if any of you guys are massive MarkyB fans or massive fans of TCM. Go ahead and subscribe to myself. Thanks a lot. But now, getting into the actual gist of the video and what I really wanted to talk about. I'm going to be going through each and every group, and obviously this was done on the MLG channel earlier on today when they actually announced the groups, but I want to give you guys my opinion on who will advance from each group. Like I said, using my expertise from every sort of angle. So, Group A is Strictly Business, Sublime, Vitality Returns, and Team Rise. So, Strictly Business are obviously the team that won the US Regionals. They dethroned Complexity. They have the first seed for the Call of Duty Championships. Then you've got Sublime, the Italian team, Vitality Returns, the French team, and Team Rise, the South African team. So, I'm going to go into a bit of detail about these guys and what I think is going to be the deciding factors on each and every team's success in the tournament. So, Strictly Business. Obviously, they've just came off the back of winning US Regionals. I really think that they're going to want to go on and win the Call of Duty Championship. That's going to be their aim. So, personally, I cannot see them struggling with anyone in this group in particular. Although, I mean, they can't overlook anyone. If they do overlook some of these teams like Vitality Returns and Sublime, they really could have an upset on their hands. But I don't think those experienced veterans in those teams will do that. I think they'll be given 100% throughout the tournament. They won't be taking anyone lightly. They're going to play every game like it's the final, and I am sure that they will advance from that group. So Strictly Business are going to be my number one slot. So the next three slots are going to be much more up in there. So Sublime, Italian team. They ended up, part of the team came top 8 last year with the Swanee in the team. They came 8th under the team Inferno, I believe. They came 7th/8th, which was rather successful for those guys. None of them were really expected to place that highly. It was just really seen as a trip to LA for Swanee. They ended up going on to be a couple of amazing teams to get themselves into that top 8 slot. So Sublime have certainly got experience on this stage before. But in all honesty, on this game, I've not seen much from them. Unlike the Inferno team on Black Ops 2, I've seen them scrimming a lot, and I just haven't seen that from Sublime. They could be scrimming, but they're not really scrimming against top teams, so I don't really see Sublime getting that sort of great practice that the likes of the other teams in their group will have. Vitality Returns are going to be the other team that I actually think are going to advance in the group as the favourites alongside Strictly Business. Vitality Returns obviously consists of a lot of top French players: Agni, Azox, Tonya, and TG maybe. Oh my god, that's really embarrassing. I really should know that, but I don't. And Team Rise, the last but not least South African team. I really want to touch about them because honestly, I think they could make an upset, and I think they maybe. Who knows? Potentially, they could come second in the group. This seems crazy, right? But Team Rise is actually filmed with 2 South African players and 2 British players. 2 of the British players being someone you might see that I stream a lot with, Mancy and Dominate. So those are 2 really good UK players that have actually wriggled themselves away to the Call of Duty Championships because they couldn't previously qualify. And they've managed to get themselves there, and Mancy and Dominate are 2 amazing players, and they have a lot of knowledge in the game. They've played Call of Duty Ghosts a lot, and honestly, if they teach this, if the 2 South African players they have alongside them can learn the way to play the game correctly, and Mancy and Dominate teach them how to play, and maybe they come up with some amazing strategies, I honestly can see them beating the likes of Vitality Returns and certainly Sublime. But I'm not going to favourite them in those teams. I'm going to still say that Vitality Returns are going to come out on top on that matchup. But like I said, Team Rise, you could look out for them as an upset, so look out for those guys. So next, Group B, Complexity Gaming, All Stars, Vex Revenge, and Team Orbit UK. This is a really, 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 really close group. Obviously, the first three group, it's obviously been seeded in terms of the best American teams to the worst EU teams. So it's kind of until you get near the middle of the group, it's going to be like one-sided a lot. So Complexity Gaming, you're going to go with them obviously winning the group. Have no doubts about them. They've got that hunger, that desire to want to win again. They won about 8 out of 9 tournaments, well 8 out of 10 now, but I want them. I don't want them. I mean, I can see them wanting really, 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 really. They're going to really want to get back to the top of the Call of Duty scene, and they're going to want to go ahead and dominate the group. So I can see them just absolutely destroying, 3-0ing everyone in this group. They're going to 3-0 All Stars. They're going to 3-0 the Canadian team of Vex Revenge, and they're also going to 3-0 the team of Team Orbit UK, who are a very good UK team nonetheless, but I honestly think that Complexity are just a little too much for them to handle. So then the next one spot for the advancing days in the Call of Duty Championship are up in the air for me there. All Stars consists of Bizzle, Black, Torres, and Daredevil. A wealth of experience at the top of the EU scene from previous Call of Duties. On this game, they've not really played that much. They're not really showing themselves to be up there with the best, but at the same time, they do have that experience. And sometimes in these tournaments, that's all you really need, as that experience. And sometimes you can just go huge when you need to. I mean, they've got amazing talent in there. They've got Bizzle, Torres, every single Black and Daredevil, all great players who all have the ability to go off. Daredevil is known as some sort of S&D monster. He can go off in S&D whenever he wants. And then you've also got the likes of Torres, who's known as for one of the best AR shots in the game. Black as well was known. He won the MVP EGL7. Players from the Optic Gaming team will remember him. He was an amazing player on Modern Warfare 3. He's a really good player on Call of Duty in general, but he really could show up at the Call of Duty Championships. So All Stars, I'm talking a little bit too much about the teams, but this is going to be a long video, so hopefully you enjoy it. But then Vex Revenge. Vex Revenge is a team, honestly, I have no idea about. I believe it is the best Canadian team. Well, not the best. The team that qualified for the first week of the Canadian Call of Duty Championships qualifiers. I think that is that team. Well, it is that team. I don't know why I think. I know it is that team. And they could be good, they could be bad. In all honesty, I'm not going to give you guys an opinion on them because I honestly can't. I've not seen enough of them. I don't know any of their players really, bar Elskill, who I actually had the opportunity of playing a bit of Call of Duty World at War with back in the day. I don't know if he'll remember me. He might do, he might not. And then Team Orbit UK, they were actually in our group for the group play before the regionals qualifiers. They came second. They only lost to us. They were the only team that we ended up that they actually lost to. So, I mean, they're a great team. They ended up going on beating TYT 3-0 in qualifying for the Call of Duty Championships, and then they sort of lost straight away against Vitality Rises, which I mean was to be expected, to be honest. So that I honestly don't think that is a showing of how Orbit can do. I think Orbit are a great team, and with that, now they've got that sort of experience in high pressure environments. I think that really will take them forward to the Call of Duty Championships. So in my opinion, now I'm going to give you the opinion on where I think it's going to place who. So obviously going to Complexity coming in first. Then I'm going to go with Orbit coming in second, Vex Revenge third, and All Stars fourth. But honestly, all those three teams can honestly place second. Like, all of them can. I'm just going to slightly favourite Team Orbit because I've played against them more, and I just know the ability they do have. The likes of Bounce and Jura, those guys have the ability to go off. And Jura's one of the best S&D players in Europe. He's a really smart guy, really nice guy, really calm. And then you've got Bounce, who's sort of a new guy on the block, first event as well as Endura, but they're going to want to go out and prove something wrong. Jacko and Lewis, veterans. Lewis has won several PS3 LAN events, numerous MVP awards, and he's always been alongside Jacko. Him and Jacko have always sort of dominated together, so I'm going to look to see them doing well in advance from their group. So now Group C, Team Caliber, Lightning Pandas, Wild Gaming, and Rain Mix. So this group's pretty straightforward. In all honesty, I'm going to be completely honest. Team Caliber are going to win the group pretty easily. Then second place is going to be Wild Gaming, the Canadian team. Lightning Pandas, although they are good, I just think they're not taking this as seriously. Well, they are scrimming a lot, but I don't think they expect to come out of the group, in all honesty. And I can see that maybe carrying forward to their gameplay. If Shane can install that confidence in the other two players in their team, obviously himself and Necrom, the experienced heads of the team, and then the two Austrian and Swiss player, I hope that if Shane can install confidence in those guys and the ability for them to just to go ahead and just try ballsy things, I think that they could cause an upset against Wild Gaming and then maybe advance to the second place. But in all honesty, I don't know if that will happen, and I think they don't even know if that will happen. So I'm going to predict Team Caliber first, Wild Gaming second, Lightning Pandas third, and Rain Mix fourth. Rain Mix, although they are a good team, I think they got to the final of the EU 2K 1 week against us, although that might have been a slightly different roster. But Rain Mix are a team of a lot of decent players. I mean, they could do well, in all honesty, but I honestly just think this competition is a stretch too far for those guys, and I can't see them advancing forward, unfortunately, sadly. Group D, FaZe, SK Gaming, Trident T1 Daughters, and Aztec Gaming. FaZe, obviously, United States team. You're going to notice right now, there's a bit of a trend. I'm predicting the US team to win every single group. And I'm sorry, that's just the way, I'm going to be completely honest in my opinion, and I think that's just the way it's going to go. FaZe are going to win this group as well. Then, another one of those groups where it's up in the air again, like it is every time. But at the same time, I honestly believe a lot of people give the SK Gaming players a lot of hate. A lot of people give them a lot of hate, and sometimes I feel it's undeserved. I honestly feel it's undeserved. Although those guys did get a free trip to LA, at the same time they are a very good squad, and I think they can come second in this group. In fact, I'm very confident of them coming second in this group. I can just see SK being too much for Trident T1 Daughters and Aztec Gaming. Although Trident T1 Daughters, it's such a long name. I'm just going to call them Trident T1 I'm just going to call them Trident, actually. Although they did obviously win the Australian and New Zealand qualifier pretty comfortably in the final, I believe. They were actually down 2 series. They managed to win 3-0 and 3-1 to win that whole thing. I honestly can see SK Gaming being a bit of a handful for them, as well as FaZe. And I can honestly see the SK coming in, securing that second spot. Aztec Gaming, bit of an unknown quantity. Mexican team. From what I remember, though, there was actually a Mexican team from last year. I'm pretty sure that I ended up upsetting Farico Dragons, who were the UK representative at last year's Call of Duty World Championships. So you never know. Look out for Aztec Gaming. They could provide some upsets. But SK Gaming, been there, done that. Some of their players have been to the World Championships numerous times, and I can only expect that experience, as well as them just being a good team and good players, to go on and beat Trident Doors and Aztec Gaming and advance in that second place. They're not going to beat FaZe, in all honesty, I don't think they will. FaZe look really strong, their new roster looks really good, and I can just see them winning the group. Another US team to top the group in my opinion. Fifth group, Group E. Team Envious, Tech Intensity, Immunity and Clarity. This is going to be one of the ones that I'm really interested to see, this group, because in all honesty, I love the Tech guys. I really love them. I want Tech to go on and place as well as they can in the group. I'm fucking good friends with all those guys. Play GBs with them all the time. Wonder was one of the guys that gave me an opportunity to get to the top. So I mean, Tech I'd like to see good. Like to see do good. But I think Envious are going to win the group. Again, American team expected to win. Sorry. I think Team Envious are going to go ahead and win this group. And Tech are going to be in a close second. I think them and Immunity are going to be really close. I think Immunity, honestly, even though they came second, I honestly believe they are the best team in Australia. That may be biased just because I know the Immunity guys, but in my opinion, the Immunity team are going to do better than their counterparts in Australia. Don't hate me for saying that, but I honestly believe that's going to be the case. Tech Intensity, though, I honestly believe they can come second in the group. If not, I mean, no, it'll be set. They'll come second in the group. I think Envious and Tech Intensity will be a very close game. I don't think Envious should really, honestly, I don't think they should think that it's going to be an easy game against Team Envious against Tech Intensity, because it's really not. They're a really solid team, really aggressive, and they'll get in your face, and they'll do really well, and they'll get hyped. They're a really hyped team. Mainly Mellow though, and realise they're a lot hype. They're quite hype. And then you've got Immunity, who obviously filled with the most experienced and most winningest Call of Duty Australian players. I can really see them maybe edging the second place to Tech. I would also love to see those guys do well at the tournament. It's kind of bittersweet for me because this group is... I feel really bad because I love everyone, and well, not everyone. I love a lot of the players in 3 of the teams. I love all the Team Envious guys. Obviously, we're going forward to Scrim next week at the Team Envious house for about 6 days, so I love all of those guys, and I've talked to them at previous events. I want them to do well. And then we've got Tech Intensity, a lot of good mates in there. I would like to see them do well. And then I've got Immunity, who are my Australian brothers. I want to see them do well as well. It's just really hard for me. But in all honesty, honest opinion, Team Envious first, Tech Intensity second, Immunity third, and Clarity fourth. That's what is going to go down. Fair play. I don't think there's going to be any upsets in that group, in all honesty. I just think that's the way it's going to go. Straightforward. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. Oh. Oh. I'm just fucking thinking of that remix for the Wolf of Wall Street thing. Like, oh. Right, I'm going to fucking go on and finish off these groups, right? Group F, Rise Nation, Vitality Rises, Wizards EU, and Brazil 5 stars. This group, I think, is going to be the first time you see an EU team winning a group. Obviously, Rise Nation ended up coming top 6 at the regionals. They did beat Curse V, and I think they're an amazing team. But I think Vitality Rises have got a lot to prove, and those guys are all sick players. Vitality Rises have the ability to go absolutely huge if they're all in their games. When there's so much on the line, like at Call of Duty Championships, it really can switch on something in your brain, and everyone in the team can start going ham. And if that happens with Vitality Rises, which I think it will, in all honesty, I think Vitality Rises are a good team, and if they sort out their sort of problems in regards to that sort of French known playstyle for challenging everything, if they just play it calm, slow paced, well, not slow paced, play with aggression, but I think they need to, and at times, just slow it down, and I think the Vitality Rises could end up winning that group, and I'd be interested to see, so doing it for the Team EU boys, I'd like to see Vitality advance in that group as first place, but I think it's going to be a toss-up between them and Rise Nation. In all honesty, I think it's just those two fighting out for first and second. I think, I'm not going to put down any other teams, but I can't see Wizards beating Vitality Rises or Rise Nation. In all honesty, I just can't see that happening. From what I've seen of Wizards at the regionals, they didn't look too great, in my opinion. So I just honestly can't see that happen. Brazil 5 stars is actually filled with... It actually has excellence from Scotland, from Glasgow, but he's actually part Brazilian. So he's actually playing with a Brazilian team at the Call of Duty World Championships. That's his team. Like I said before, I don't really expect those guys to do any well, although the experience of excellence, you never know, something, they could provide some upsets in advance to the second day. We'll just have to wait and see. But in all honesty, this group's going to go... It's going to be Rise Nation Vitality first and second. Wizards of Brazil 5 stars are going to fight it out in a Portuguese-Spanish fight-off. Obviously, Brazilians speak Portuguese, so they're going to be speaking Spanish, and one team's going to be speaking Portuguese, and they're going to be like fighting against each other. It's going to be kind of awkward. And then, Group G. I'm either going to get heavily slated in this video, whatever way I go, but I think Optic Gaming Epsilon, NSP, which is the South Korean team, and then Soft Gaming, another Brazilian team. This group, in all honesty, I can just see Epsilon winning it. I think Epsilon have got a lot to prove after coming second to us at the EU regionals. I mean, they were absolutely battering us online before, and this has been said over and over again. They were battering us online before. A lot of people expected them to go in and win it with relative ease, and I think now that a lot of people have been like, oh no, they're online warriors, all this bollocks. I think they've got a lot of motivation and a lot of desire to go ahead and prove a lot of people wrong. And I think Epsilon have the ability to win this group. I honestly do. I think Epsilon are going to go ahead and win this group. Optic are going to come second easily, but it's, like I said, I think Epsilon are going to win. Honestly, sounds like I'm just being biased to EU, but when I actually think about every matchup in that team, you've got objective players, you've got Flux versus Embos, and I've teamed with Flux before, And he's a very good objective player. He's very, very good, and he'll just hit you with those unorthodox playstyles and unorthodox tactics that maybe American teams aren't going to be used to or aren't going to be expecting. So I expect, I mean, it happened at NLG. Flux really bamboozled a lot of people with his weird strategies, and honestly, I can see that happening again. So I'm going to put Epsilon coming first. And like I said, if you do the matchups in each team, you got Clayster and Swanee. I think that's obviously, I think that's a very close matchup. But I think I'm not sure who wins that. In all honesty, it's obviously who plays the best on their day. But I think if you look at the other matchups in the team, you've got Flux versus Embos, you've got Tommy versus Scumpy, and then you've got Nadeshot versus Jerd. Well, no, you've got Nadeshot versus Jerd. Although, yeah, Nadeshot versus Jerd, that's going to be the sort of matchups in game that you're going to be seeing a lot. And I can just see Epsilon coming out on top. Don't hate me, Optic fans. Do not hate me. That is my opinion. NSP and Soft Gaming, just think it's a stretch too far beating any of those two teams. A wealth of experience in both of those lineups, and I can just see those teams both losing 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0 to Optic Gaming and Epsilon. I can't see it going any other way, in all honesty. And then finally, our group. Not going to predict it because I don't do predictions. I'm on group. For those of you guys who don't know, Xfinity, TCM, Killerfish, and Echelon is the group. Echelon are a Singapore team. Killerfish are obviously a German team, ourselves the UK team, and then Xfinity the US team. Xfinity are seeded as the worst US team, but at the same time, I think they are better than certain other teams that are qualified already. With that being said, Xfinity looks really good at US regionals from what I've seen, and from what I've heard, once they actually qualified for the Call of Duty Championships, they didn't care. When they played FaZe for top 6, I believe they were all just taking the piss, from what I've been told. So I would like to see, I'm really looking forward to matchups against Xfinity. Got a really good friend in Mud Dog in that Xfinity lineup, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how he performs against us, and I'm really looking forward to that match, like I said. So it's going to be a really good group. I'm not going to predict anything from it. Thanks a lot for watching the video, guys. Hope you've enjoyed my predictions. Hopefully, yeah. See you guys later. Peace out. Fuck knows what I'm doing, man. I'm crazy.